Okay, I hope you enjoyed that first activity. This is part 2 of today's workshop with Positive Images Festival Coventry, and we're also collaborating for this particular one with the Coventry Sacred Space Initiative, which I did a bit of blurb on in the first video. And so if you want to know a bit more about it, watch that. But this particular activity is for people who may want to submit to that project because they are looking for poems about Coventry. Although if you want to write it about wherever you live or somewhere that's special to you, that is absolutely fine as well. A brilliant project in recent years, which I was fortunate enough to be part of, was the Places of Poetry project, and that was done with the Poetry Society and quite a few other people. There was a programme on BBC Two about it last year. So if you are interested in this, then all the W's, placesofpoetry.org.uk is the place to go, and that's where I'll be taking this poem from that we're looking at next. So we'll have a look, if you go onto the website, you can have a look at the form of this poem and see how it really reflects the place it's talking about. This particular poem, if you haven't got it in front of you, I will hold it up in a second. It's got very short lines, which to me represent the journey of the theme of this poem. So I thought I'll read it first and then we'll have a look at it together. It's called At St Non's Well, St David's, and it's by Welsh poet Patrick Jones, which you may have guessed with the name. And I really like this poem because I have actually been there, and it just really encapsulates the feel of the place, even though it's many years since I have been there. Hopefully I'll be able to go back when all this is over because I do love St David's. And if you haven't been, it's worth a visit. But if we can't get about at the moment, Places of Poetry website is brilliant because you can go all around the country in poetry form. I'll stop talking and read the poem instead. Before I do, St Non's Well, if you don't know of it, it is a well, as the name would suggest, and the sign on the well actually reads, "This well is said to have sprung up during a thunderstorm when St David was born about 500 AD. Its waters are reputed to cure infirmities." So straight away, that's an interesting topic because we're dealing with myth and legend there as well as place. So, At St Non's Well, St David's by Patrick Jones. At St Non's Well, where edge clings to air, as a baby's hand reaches for love, a star sun showers winter with warmth. Where waves batter rocks, send white spray glittering to blue. Is this the well we drink from? Is this the silent spring that shudders the tiny trickles, rivulets of remembrance, floods of love, letting loss untie itself and spill to the sucking sea? Time-torn tears wash the want away, mud-manacled fears, unleashed and unbounded, free, now enough to say, a river of memoria, umbilical to the sea. Torquenet of hope, milk of millennia, flowing expectantly to where the blind find the sight. The stammer meets eloquence, the scream, the silence, and the imprisoned rise to transcendence. So hopefully I did it sort of some justice in reading it. But I just think it's a beautiful poem. As I say, if you want to find it, go onto placesofpoetry.org, and it is poem number 20,487, which might help you if you need a reference number, because as you've now noticed, there's a lot of poems on that site. But if you also head to St David's on the map, you'll find it pinned to the map in St David's. So that was a poem, as I said, by Patrick Jones, who pinned his poem to the project. And I know you love a little bit of a bio if you're in my group. So here's the information I found on the poet, thanks to Google. So he was born in 1965. He's a Welsh poet, playwright, and senior sibling of Nicky Wire of the Manic Street Preachers. He has brought the struggles and contradictions of life in the Welsh valleys to new audiences and was voted the most innovative poet and playwright in the top 100 heroes of Wales. So that's a pretty good accolade. Let me find back where we were. All these sheets of paper, usually when I'm at the workshop they end up all over the table. I haven't quite got that luxury at the moment. So the poem is quite long because of the form of it, but if I just show you the middle page, I always see people doing this on videos, I'm never sure if it ends up the right way around, I'm hoping that it does, but you don't need to see the words, just the form of it to me reflects the journey of the water in the well, the trickle that it talks about, that umbilical cord to the sea, and you can really see that reflected in the form of the poem here. Thank you for bearing with me. Very professional as always, aren't I? So it's that journey of place. The place is a key part of the poem and what it looks like. And the other thing that really jumps out at me with this poem is the real careful thought to the words that have been chosen. So the words here, a number of them reflect that theme of water in perhaps surprising ways. So star, sun, showers, winter. So we've got the sun actually showering winter, which I just thought was beautiful. We've got time-torn tears and spill to sucking sea. And what you'll notice actually as well with those phrases is that it uses that sibilance through a lot of it. Spill to sucking sea, star, sun, showers. We've got that repeated s sound, that soft sibilant sound, which again could reflect a gentle moving of water. So maybe in a second or even a third draft of a poem, that's when you can really start to see if you can inject some of those word sounds, key sounds into your poem, as well as having a look at the form. So now I'm going to pass over to you. First, I would like you to decide on a place that is sacred to you, and I will say sacred because this does not have to be a religious or spiritual place. If it is, then that is absolutely great, but it can be a place that is special or meaningful to you. And if you would like to submit your poem to the Coventry Sacred Spaces project, then it will need to be a sacred space, whatever that means to you, but it has to be in Coventry or the surrounding area. So if you're doing it to submit to this project, it would need to be about our area in Coventry. If you're doing it because you want a poetry exercise to do it about wherever you feel happy to. When you've decided on a place, then I'd like you to have a go at creating a word bank. This is sometimes a way that I approach a poem. And so if you're thinking about writing a well, like Patrick Jones did, then you could think of a list of water-related words. So I find if I've got a good list of sort of maybe 6, 7, sometimes more words that I can pull out and make sure I try and include in my poem, hopefully in unusual and unique ways, like the poet did here, then I find that a really helpful way of writing. So another example would be if you choose a building that's maybe like an old stone building, then you could create a list of words related to the properties of stone, of the material that the building's made of, or of the time scale that the building would have been built at. You know, if it's a medieval building, have a think about those words. If you were doing about a cathedral, again, there's all sorts of leads you could do from that. You could go down a sort of religious word bank, or if it was with Coventry, you could go down maybe even sort of like a World War II Blitz type word bank. So pick a sort of theme that you would like to have running through your poem and create a word bank for it. By word bank, I just mean pick out words that you associate with that topic. So if I had been Patrick Jones, I would have thought, okay, real big theme in my poem is water. What words do I associate with water? And really think about like the sounds and the smells and the properties of that, and make a list of words that you could potentially use in your poem. As promised, I will give you the address if you would like to submit that poem to the project. Let me just find that here. So poems based on the theme of sacred spaces in Coventry can be emailed to Deepak, that's DEEPAK, and his email address is deepak naik, Naik, at ntlworld.com. What I will do is put that in a comment underneath this video, and if you could please mention that you saw this workshop and that was has helped you to maybe inspired you to write the poem, that would be brilliant, so that they know where you got the details from. That's probably too small, but that is the address, and I will put that in the comments below because I have had permission to do that. I'm not just flashing his email address round on the internet. So I will leave you again because I'm sure I've talked for long enough, as I am prone to doing, and have fun, and I look forward to seeing some of these poems hopefully. Okay.